Hello and welcome to the RC Biker channel. Thanks very much for tuning in. Today, very exciting video. This is my review of this little beauty, the new electric scooter. Let's get into it. So this is the NQI GT Pro. This is a fully electric scooter with a top speed of approximately 45 miles per hour and a range of around 80 miles. It takes about 3.5 hours for a full charge, so pretty impressive. So this bike weighs in at just 115 kilograms, so it's extremely light and extremely flickable. Of course, this bike is primarily designed for your commuters or your people who are commuting to work. Extremely small, extremely light and nimble, perfect for cutting through traffic and making good progress on that daily commute. And of course, with it being electric, it's extremely cheap as well. So the bike has got 3 riding modes. You can ride it in the sport mode, the dynamic mode or the eco mode. Now of course eco is going to give you the longest range and the sport mode is going to give you the top speed. For me and the sort of roads that I've been riding on, the sport mode has certainly been the most comfortable in terms of it allowing me to reach the top speed of 45 miles per hour. Dynamic mode restricts you to 30 miles per hour, which for most people would be absolutely fine if you're just commuting, but you know, when you get to a 40 mile an hour road with a 40 mile an hour speed limit road, it's nice to be able to get up to 40 miles an hour to stay safe and keep up with the cars. So I've primarily been riding it in sport mode. One thing that's particularly impressive about this bike is that unlike other electric bikes and cars, the batteries in this are fully removable. So that means that if you don't have access to a charger outside, you can simply remove the 2 batteries, carry them indoors and charge them indoors. And you could also, if you wanted to, have 2 sets of batteries on the go. So if you're needing continuous power, you could have one set on charge whilst you're out on the bike, go home, swap the set over, and then you don't need to wait around for the batteries to charge. Like I said, it takes about 3.5 hours to do a full charge on this one, and that will give you a range of approximately 80 miles, of course depending what mode you're going to ride the bike in. I've been riding this bike for 3 days now, charged it on Saturday, today's Tuesday, and I've covered so far 57 miles, and as I say, I have been riding it primarily in the sport mode. So this bike has got some really cool 21st century tech. There's a downloadable app which you can view battery life information, trip history and tracking of the bike as well. It also features a centre stand, which is great for maintenance purposes, albeit maintenance is obviously quite small on these electric scooters. And the bike also has a very handy built-in USB charger so that you can of course plug in your phone or separate sat-nav or charge any devices that you wish. So for a little bike, it's got all of the tech. This bike features a 3000 watt motor made by Bosch, and we've got disc brakes on the front and the rear. So as I mentioned, this bike has got 2 separate 35 amp hour batteries. One of them is located underneath this rubber floor mat, the other one is located underneath the seat. Now that does potentially pose a little bit of an issue for some, because that means that the whole under-seat storage is therefore taken up by a battery. So then you've got 2 options. You can either remove the battery and store your helmet in it, but then you're going to be carrying around a battery, or you're going to have to look at other luggage alternatives. I was looking online last night, there are lots of options for you. There are brackets available so that you can fit a top box to this one, which would of course cure that issue. However, as it stands, as the bike currently is, the only storage option you've got is a little hook on the front here where you could hook a carrier bag or something like that, but there's no storage under the seat for the helmet. This little scooter does have a seat on the back, so if you wanted to, you are able to seat a pillion, and it's got LED lighting throughout, including the nice beautiful angel eye type DRL on the front there, which makes it look really, really smart. So I think you'd probably agree. I think it's time now to jump on the bike and take it for a little ride, and then I can tell you my thoughts on it, how it rides, and what it's like as a daily commuting bike. Okay, so then we're on board this little beautiful electric scooter, and when you get on it, especially when you're used to a heavy big bike, it feels so light, so agile. So we've got this lovely LCD display here in front of me. When you initially turn it on, you get this self-calibration mode here where it goes in full colour, which looks pretty cool, and then it comes up with this nice display in white, which is great. Today is a very bright sunny day, and yet that is fully visible in the sun, even with the sun's behind me at the moment, and I can clearly read all the important information. So to start the bike, we press this little green button here, and then we get this green ready light. So that's basically to say the bike is ready. Now I've noticed every time you turn the bike off and on, it defaults to come up in dynamic mode. So I tend to switch the modes. We press here, it goes up to sport, back down to dynamic, and then back down once more, goes into e-safe or eco mode. So we've got the time here, cloud service connected, so that's because I've connected it to my phone. Here we've got the battery life. Okay, so we've got 2 batteries. It gives you separate charge in these, and a combined percentage of 39%. Nice and simple, very easy to figure out. You know, it's not nothing difficult about it there. Nice and simple, and of course you've got all your usual controls and everything like that. This has got cruise control as well, which is really, really impressive. So let's take it for a little ride then and see what we think. We are then on, just town type roads, and the bike is really, really nimble, really quick, gets up to speed really nicely, and quite comfortably keeps up with the traffic all the way up to sort of 40-45 miles an hour. On the way here this morning, I was on a dual carriageway with a 50 limit, and it topped out at 46. So definitely it's not slow enough to cause too many issues, but certainly sport mode for me is where it's at, because it just allows you to keep up with the traffic just that little bit more comfortably. So I've been riding this for 3 days. Like I say, it came to me with 1 mile on it, and I did a full charge before I even went out on it, and I still haven't charged it yet, so it's on 50 miles now. So it's only done 50 miles, and I've still got 38% left on the battery. So I'm kind of agreeing so far with NIU's estimated range of approximately 80 miles on 1 charge. It seems that is going to be about right, and like I say, that's mainly with sport mode riding as well. This bike does have regen braking, so those of you who have owned electric cars or bikes will be quite familiar with that. It's basically where, as we take our hand off the throttle, so stop accelerating, the bike almost brakes itself, and what it's doing is it's regenerating that braking power into electricity. So in other words, it's putting that electricity back into the battery. Now that's very useful, because just like on a engine powered bike we have engine braking, on this we have regen braking as well. So just reduces the amount that you need using your brakes, and also means that you can put a little bit of extra juice back into the battery. I think it's a very, very nice place to be. It's extremely planted, it's very comfortable, and a lot of fun as well. If you haven't ridden an electric bike or electric scooter, absolutely you should give it a go, because it's a lot of fun, and like I said to you, it's just a lovely way to ride. And I come from something a lot faster, a lot more powerful, so you might be surprised that I actually find this a real delight to ride, but it just is. It's a hell of a lot of fun. The brakes are extremely good. You've got disc brakes on the front and the rear, and they do their job really, really well. So we're coming now then onto a 50 miles an hour stretch of dual carriageway, just to test out the top speed. So we're at full throttle now, and it's climbing up quite comfortably. I can tell I've got the wind coming. I'm riding against the wind this time, as opposed to on the way here when it was behind me. But you see there, it's climbing up through the speed quite comfortably, and keeping a nice road position here. I'm quite comfortable on it. I don't feel vulnerable at all. So we're at 45 now, and that is NIU's claimed top speed of this bike. And 40 miles an hour here is comfortable. You know, it's we're going fast enough to feel able and confident to keep up with the traffic. One other thing I absolutely love about riding and driving electric is the people look at it. You know, people look at it and you're riding something different, and it just gives you that real sense of I don't know, importance, and it's just exciting. It's just excellent. People do look at it because they don't hear it coming, so it's when they see it and you can just see that look of surprise on their face, as if to say, oh, you know, that must be electric, that's exciting, that's different. It's just a great feeling. So this bike retails for approximately £3,300, depending on where you buy it. Now that price, to some people, you know, for a 125 equivalent of this bike, that is considerably more, isn't it, than your average 125. However, what you need to take into account is the savings in fuel. Okay, because there's obviously no petrol, and the cost of charging this one is a hell of a lot cheaper. To do the same number of miles in petrol will cost you a lot more than it would to charge it. So you've got to think about the saving. Also servicing. So on obviously a fuel powered bike, you've got the cost of servicing, the oil changes, etc. The only fluid that this has got is the brake fluid. So the majority of the servicing costs are just for checking various components, and servicing on these electric vehicles is often extremely cheap. On this one there's going to be no tax or road excise duty or whatever it's called. There's not going to be any of that, so again that is another saving as well. So when you considering purchasing an electric vehicle, you've got to consider the cost savings as well. Don't just focus yourself on that initial outlay. If you've never ridden an electric bike, if you've never driven an electric car, please go and give one a go, because I promise you it will put an absolute smile on your face. So I hope you've enjoyed this video on this little new scooter. I certainly have thoroughly enjoyed making it. There's probably lots of you know, facts and stuff I think I've probably missed out there, so I will pop the more information in the description down below. But I think the main focus of these videos is you guys come here to watch them being ridden and to see what they look like, don't you? And obviously to get my opinion. All of the facts and stuff, you can read that for yourself on the website, so do have a read through that. A massive thanks to NIU again for allowing me the use of this bike for a week. It's much appreciated, and hopefully those guys will give us the opportunity to borrow some more bikes in the future, so that we can make some more content. So thanks very much for tuning in, guys, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye for now.